This is Earnings Preview, a look at companies reporting during the week, along with companies which may have positive or negative earnings surprises. This earnings preview is for September 21st through the 25th. Charles Rotblatt, our senior market analyst at Zacks.com, with me once again to talk about what's going to be happening during this eventful week. Starting with earnings, we get another look at the initial third quarter results with 11 more S&P 500 companies giving some reports out this week. So as we get closer to the official beginning of third quarter earnings season, are you getting excited here? I mean, is this...
I don't know if excitement's the word, but, curiosity to see, what the numbers look like. This past week when we look at the numbers out of Oracle, the numbers that were released from FedEx, a little disappointment in terms of the revenues. Conversely, Palm was actually helped because their revenues were above expectations. Stock dropped in after hours because they're doing a secondary offering. But, I think more importantly, when you look at Oracle and FedEx, which are far larger companies, there was a little concern about the revenue numbers. Caused both stocks to fall about 2% on Thursday, yesterday, September 17th. But we really didn't see a bad reaction throughout the markets. But earnings so far look like they're coming in ahead of, really above expectations. Very, very small sample. But I do expect, by and large, most companies to top earnings expectations. We'll have to see what the revenue numbers look like and how the market reacts to them.
Are you willing to quote any macro numbers for us this far in advance?
As far as how earnings season will shape up?
Yep.
Sure. In terms of revenues, we're looking about revenues being down about 7%, and we're looking earnings being down about 14 to 15%, depending on whether you look at it on an index level or the median company level. I should point out to people that in general, we do get fewer forecasts for revenues than for earnings from the brokers and analysts. So we are actually looking at a smaller pool of forecasts when we do the revenue numbers. I'm pretty sure the same is with our competitors, Thomson. So when people start looking at the revenue estimates, understand that the consensus estimates for the revenues are actually based on a smaller number of actual forecasts than we are looking at for the earnings estimates. So probably a little bit more accuracy in the earnings estimates in terms of the direction of the changes. Obviously, taking millions of dollars in profits and narrowing it down to a penny per share is pretty difficult, but those are the gauges we're using.
All right, good point. A lot of economic news out this week as well, including existing home sales about midweek.
I have actually a number of home sales numbers coming out there. We'll have the existing homes. We'll have a housing price index coming out there. We'll have some home builders coming out reporting numbers. So, more information about the housing sector. I think right now, obviously I do expect the rebound in housing to continue, but as we move out of summer and towards that November deadline, we should start seeing some people getting skittish about home sales and what happens after November. I did hear something yesterday that the Obama administration is considering extending the home buyer's credit. That's not a certainty. Certainly if that were to happen, it would probably give a boost to the home building stocks, but it's not a given, and we'll have to see what happens.
You're actually looking for Dow 10,000 in this current week?
Right now we're really just one good day away from Dow 10,000, so I'm not going out on a limb by saying it. But I think when you look at the overall direction of the markets, it does seem that traders want to hit that mark. What happens after we hit that mark is hard to say. Do we keep going? Do we maybe start looking at Dow 10,008? Do we pause or do we pull back? I don't know. I think if someone's cautious or sitting on some big gains, we do have Dow hitting 10,000. They may want to look about maybe adding a short position at that point as a hedge, or maybe considering taking some profits off the table. I have been premature in calling for a market pullback. I thought we'd have one before now. We haven't. But I think investors should understand we're in a fear and greed market, and it's fast money running the markets right now. So hard to say what will happen once we hit that, but we could continue going higher, but I don't think a pullback's out of the realm of possibilities either.
Actually, latest reports show that day trader volume has increased in the market.
Yeah, day trader volume has increased, but I think when you look at overall volume in the markets, it has actually dropped, and it's really continuing to trend lower. So yes, you might be seeing more active traders, but you're seeing more overall investors move to the sidelines.
All right, and that's where that fear and greed thing comes
Yeah, well,
in.
I think also when you look at the fear, you also have to look at the bond markets. I do talk this week about a very large Treasury auction.
Yep.
Your tax dollars at work again.
Absolutely.
But, again, we're seeing these bond auctions being oversubscribed. So the question is, if everyone's so optimistic about the markets, why are people settling for these very low yields on treasuries? And the answer is, yes, the economy is getting better, but there's still a lot of fear being out there, and a lot of people are concerned, and that's why we're continuing to see gold doing well, fear about the dollar, and we're continuing to see bond auctions doing well, fear about the overall pace of the economy, and about the stock market itself.
All right, Charles also in this piece this week talks about companies that could surprise in both directions, both to the positive and to the negative side. So if you're watching this video from outside of Zacks.com, you'll want to go to our homepage and scroll down that page until you get to the earnings preview headline and access a text copy of this week's report to get that information. With Charles Rotblatt, I'm Terry Ruffalo.